Hello, and we are back with Wine with Raquel, and I have William Grace, the director of catering at the Annapolis Westin here with me, who is drinking coffee. He is
I love my Starbucks.
Yes, but I'm definitely going to still drink wine. So cheers to that, cheers to that. So I'm so glad you could join me. It's been, we know each other, we've known each other for quite some time now, but for people who don't know you, tell them a little bit about you, your background, and how you got to be the director of catering at the Westin.
Absolutely. I spent some time in my previous life, my degrees in information technology. Decided to jump into the wedding market probably about 17 years ago.
Wow.
And I've worked with several hotels, Hilton hotels, Hyatt hotels, Omni hotels, Marriott hotels, and now the Westin Annapolis here in Annapolis.
Now, why information technology to hotels? It seems like...
I think it became the fact that, I wanted to be out front in front of clients.
Okay.
And not, be actually behind a computer screen.
Yeah.
But, it's all about customer friendly. It's all about getting in front of that client, having fun with it, and that's my forte. I love seeing people happy. I love seeing people smile, and I love having a good time.
You've always been such a positive person. So how did you so you said that you started in information technologies, lots of different hotels. Where are you from? How did you get to where you are now here in Annapolis?
You know what? I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And from there, when I was 18, I decided to go into the military.
I think I've seen some of those little dicky hat. I don't even know how much it works. It's very handsome, very good, yes.
So I spent 8 years in the Navy, and I was actually stationed with an admiral based out of 6th Fleet.
Okay.
So during that time frame, I was doing events, whether it be the 50th D-Day in Cherbourg, France, or basically events on board for basically admirals and dignitaries when we were actually flying in either Turkey or what have you. And then from that standpoint, when I got out of the military, I found that going the IT route, I wanted to go the IT route because it was a little bit different, but I felt that there was money involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we chase the dollar and we don't chase our passion.
Yeah.
So after getting involved with it, I found myself very bored, and a friend said, let's jump into the hotel world, and it was Hyatt at the time, and I started the Hyatt Bethesda, and I decided to chase my passion.
Well, cheers to that friend, right? He's responsible for Williams. There he is, all because of a bright idea.
Yeah, and then from there, I remember working at the Hyatt Bethesda as an assistant, jumping up from their standpoint into a small market catering manager where I was doing about 60 to 80 events a month on a small market time frame.
So when you were working at the Bethesda Hyatt, you were in the catering. You immediately got into the hospitality.
Got straight into the catering world, but I started as a catering coordinator as an admin because I wanted to understand the hotel perception, not jump in as a manager and really fail at that position.
Yeah, you want to learn how it's done. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then from there, I was actually looking at, going down to Miami, the Coral Gables area.
Yeah.
And I remember my director at the time said, who I was interviewing with, said the only way I would bring you down here is if you actually do weddings. And I said, I never want to touch them.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with weddings. And she said, that's the only way we'll bring you down to the Hyatt in Coral Gables. And I says, not a problem. I bit the bullet and never went back.
Yes, isn't that funny how it works? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and then,
great.
So after Coral Gables, you came back to DC?
No. After the Hyatt Coral Gables, I was recruited to take over the senior catering position, sort of social position, at the Omni Coral Gables at the time, which is now the Westin Coral Gables.
Okay.
And from there, I actually did some weddings there. I did some weddings at the Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables. And then I was actually recruited to come up here to the Hilton McLean Tyson's Corner, where I spent a little bit of time. And then Omni heard that I was back in town and brought me back to the Omni Showroom, where I actually did 3.5 years, and that's where I did my platinum wedding for WeTV.
That's right. And so for those of you who don't know, William has a past life as a very savvy event coordinator, and he was on TV with one of his weddings that he produced.
Correct.
So you are now here at the Westin.
Correct.
And you've been there for how long now?
It's coming up on 5 years. We're coming up on, the Westin Annapolis is now celebrating, coming up soon for their 10th year anniversary. So we've been in town for about 10 years.
Wow.
But, being there for 5 years, it's been fantastic. My clients, they change all the time, but it keeps me on my feet, and I love every minute of it.
And now you do so many events at the Westin. I would say it's one of the busiest properties in the area.
Absolutely.
Not just weddings, galas, all kinds, right?
Yeah, we do a lot of conferences there. We also do a lot of galas. So I'll do anywhere from about 10 to 15 galas a year. And then on top of it, we do anywhere from about 50 to 55 weddings a year on top of that.
And so you're the director of catering,
correct.
but I know that you have a great team.
I do. I have a fantastic team. Yep, I have 2 girls actually who do all social. Their market is a social market. I have one that actually does the corporate market as well. And we also do have 2 conference managers as well that actually focus on the group sales side as far as the conferencing side.
Wow, and so you've got your hands full kind of managing this team here.
It's fantastic. You got to keep busy.
That's exactly right. And
so
you have such a great reputation of executing, and that's why I invited you to be a part of the summit, not only for your past experience in event planning, but your ability to just kind of kill it as the director of catering.
I also think that, when you jump into the catering realm, there are so many details. You have to cross your T's and you got to dot your I's.
Definitely.
I think spending 8 years in the military has helped me considerably with making things come to fruition. I also think being on the planning side helps a lot on the design side. So, when I'm partnering with wedding planners or what have you, the great thing about it is our minds kind of think alike, because I know where they're coming from and I know where I'm coming from a hotel standpoint to kind of give my input as well.
That's wonderful. So, as an expert, tell me about what clients should be worried about when they're selecting a reception site. I feel like people are just so busy. There's so much online. That's the whole reason we're having this event. What are your tips when they're selecting a reception site? What's the process?
I think that right now we're kind of in that realm where we're in that millennial generation where everything is online, everything is at our fingertips, everything is on the phone. Pick up the phone, call the individual, build that rapport. Because in the end, you're not going to be emailing me. Yes, you're going to be emailing me left and right, but we're also going to be talking in person. So you kind of want to build that rapport as well. I think the biggest advice I give to a lot of my weddings or a lot of my brides or grooms or what have you is kind of starting with that wedding planner. I'm not one that's going to control your budget. They're going to help you with a budget constraint, say, yes, this place is affordable because I've actually been there. You can do a Sunday versus a Friday, maybe not a Saturday, but they'll work with you based upon all of this. So I think it's about connection. I think that the internet has created this connection that is no longer there, but it's pick up the phone, give me a call, get to know who I am as an individual to bring your wedding to fruition.
Exactly, and it's such an underrated part of wedding planning is that vendor has to know who you are.
Absolutely.
Bring it to fruition, just as you mentioned.
Yeah, so, I don't know who they are.
That's great advice, working with a planner so they are looking at sites that are within their budget range. So,
absolutely.
And so, when you get a phone call and someone's looking to do a wedding for 200 people, steak and crab cakes for $10,000,
it's not doable.
Right.
You read all these articles, and I find that these articles are geared towards maybe, the wedding planners are just starting out. Hey, let me just push it out there in, magazine articles or what have you. Hey, you can do a wedding for $4,000 for 200 people. And it's not doable. When it comes down to it, it's just not. You have to understand that where your value is going into. So many people may see a $135 price point from a hotel perspective, but they don't understand that, you also have labor. You have people setting up, you have people breaking down before. You're turning the lights on, you may need AC, you may need heat. Yes, but it's a one-stop shop. To where you're doing an off-site venue and you need tents, and all by the sudden you're in October and it's snowing, and now you got to rent heaters. So when you're looking at a hotel perspective, such as where I am at, it creates that one-stop shop environment. Your guests can take the elevator home. It also comes down to the fact that you're not paying for a piece of silverware. You're not paying for a plate. That all comes into it. So I would say, it really comes down to the fact of really knowing your budget. But what's going to create knowing your budget is actually starting with a planner. Or starting with someone who has experience. But it's true. It is true. It's so many venues and so many hotels or places like that will say, I'm going to be your wedding planner. Well, not really, because you may have 2 weddings going on at the same time, or you're not their florist, you can't go off-site, you can't pick their cake.
Yeah.
So, it streamlines all avenues. So when they start with a wedding planner, it allows you from a hotel perspective to focus in on hotel responsibilities.
Yes.
To whereas a wedding planner is bringing it to fruition with you. And I believe, then one hand washes the other.
Agreed. And I think that's your team. And kudos to you because you're such a great director because you communicate to your team and they execute. I know that whatever we've talked about is what's going to actually happen. Okay, so let's say you have a client, they have a planner, your facility is matched with a few others that are within their budget range. Pick up the phone, talk to this person, do you like them? What are some other deciding factors that people don't think about when they're selecting a reception site?
I think one of the things that I ask a lot of my brides, or even asking a lot of my clients, is, think about an event that you did, whether it be a dinner party or hosting a brunch or hosting someone at your home. What kept you up at night? Like, what really kept you up at night to where you weren't sleeping? Was it the fact that you were concerned that this was going to happen or this wasn't going to happen? Those are things I try to focus in on because it's those details that really brings the client to fruition and bring them around to actually really trust you as an individual that you're going to execute what those desires are.
So can you give me an example? That's a great point. And I know that you have such a wealth of experience. Can you give me an example of a client that maybe you've worked with that there's kind of like a little snafu in the planning process?
Yeah, I remember working with a client, and it was in October, and it wasn't recently here, but I remember doing a wedding from design all the way through. And it was one of my planning stages, and I was doing the wedding at the Omni Shore in DC. And it was in October, and we had this gorgeous wedding planned outside, October, fall, the whole 9 yards, and sure enough, when we woke up, it snowed.
Was it October 17th? Because I had a wedding the same day on the Eastern Shore in a day. It was horrible.
And all I remember is looking at the bride and groom and saying, we're moving inside, but I have a clear umbrella, you're throwing on some fabulous hunter boots, and we're getting you outside for pictures.
Yes.
And you know what? They were great images.
Yeah.
So it's how you as an expert
here we go.
can basically bring those items in, because if you don't have the experience, they're going to look at you, and I've seen it before where I've actually worked with individuals who are like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, they just hired you to do the job.
Yeah.
We got to figure this out together. I'm more than happy to partner with you to figure it out, but you're also the expert.
Exactly.
And
so what do you do as a reception site coordinator when you're working with a client that brought in maybe vendors that are, I always say there's a distinction between wedding professionals and vendors.
Correct.
So they bring in maybe a DJ who only does it on the weekends. And it's like, what does that do for you as a reception site coordinator? Have you had a situation?
I think that I'm the type of person that I will work with everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think that, we all started from somewhere.
Of course, definitely.
And I think that it's just a matter of understanding and laying out the road by saying, what are your responsibilities?
That's a great point.
What are you contracted for?
Yeah.
Because without knowing that, and then them coming in, they're like, well, that's not my job. They may not have been contracted to sell out the escort cards or put the place cards down. They may have only been contracted to fluff the dress and get the bride down the aisle.
That's a great point. So whose job? That would be the bride's job to make sure that she understands what she's contracting a vendor to do.
Absolutely. I think that it's always a great point for every bride or every client to review every single contract in detail. Because, even when it comes to a band, I'll say, what does a rider stipulate? What is the size of the stage? How many amps do they need from the band?
And don't sign that contract until they talk to you about it.
Absolutely. Because there's been so many brides where they will sign a contract with the band, 12 or 20 pieces, and say, oh, by the way, I want to do long royal tables and I want to have this huge dance floor. And you're like, yeah, but your rider stipulates this stage size.
Yeah.
So we need to pull your dance floor back. We need to relook at your table configurations in order to make that work. So I think that a lot of people, when you look at the fact of, you need to find first, I always say, you start with a wedding planner if you don't know where your budget is.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, then you go into your venue. And then you start looking elsewhere from all the other angles.
Right.
That actually pull that entire wedding together.
So to ask you questions about being a reception site manager, if you're comparing different sites, what are things that should be typically included in your prices? What's a good tip on how to compare apples to apples?
One of the
Which is hard to do.
It's really hard to do, but I also find that one of the things that I started when I first started at the Westin Annapolis was, when I started looking at the wedding menus, they were all piecemeal. So your entree price was here, your bar price was here, your linen price was here. I put everything on the first page.
Yeah.
And I tell my brides, everything that's included is the very first page. Because if you're piecemealing and having to create a spreadsheet in the whole 9 yards, they're not going to have time for that.
Yeah.
They see everything that's included in the very first page. They're going to look at it and say, okay, this is where I'm at.
Right.
My entree price dictates exactly what I'm going to spend before all the administrative charges and taxes.
Now, do you think that it's appropriate for a client to get an estimate of total charges before they sign a contract with the reception site?
I mean, you can definitely look at an estimated charge, but it's only an estimation.
Of course.
So I think a lot of clients need to understand that an estimation is an estimation. So you may look at 145 people, but a year from now, you may be at 245. So then you're wondering why your estimation is doubling.
Right.
So I would say really look at your budget first.
Yeah.
And again, when you start with that wedding planner,
Yeah.
the biggest thing about that is they're going to create that budgeted worksheet for you.
And have
a
to stick
hotel
to
is
it.
not going to do that for you.
Yeah.
They're going to gear you to the right direction from a budget standpoint as to dates that will basically be needed based upon where your budget is.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to creating an entire Excel spreadsheet, a budget, the whole 9 yards, you're really not the accountant.
Right, exactly. And sometimes do you feel that you're put in that position? Do you have clients that come to
You do, but I think that it really depends on the client. I think it depends on how you explain it to the client.
Yeah.
I think, kind of going up front and saying to the client, these are my responsibilities. I'm not your wedding planner. I can gear you into the right direction of someone who's going to be your perfect fit.
Yeah.
I can't go off site with you to choose a cake. I can't go off site to do floral design. I can't go off site to do this. But this is my sole responsibility. Nor do you want me
Yeah.
to be in charge of everything
Yeah.
when I have responsibility on this level.
And I think that's really why you guys are so great at executing, because you can focus on what it is you need to do. So
You have to.
tell me, if you have to kind of talk to the
Yeah.
clientele who are just engaged, what are maybe the top 10 things, not even top, let's say the top 3 things
Okay.
that a client needs to know when they're starting wedding planning? And oftentimes, as a reception site, you're number 1 or 2 on the list. What's your advice to newly engaged couples?
I think it's really sitting down after you're engaged and really looking at what you truly want. Is it contemporary? Is it old world charm? Is it, a distinctive home? Is it, maybe your own home? Start with that first. Then really look at who you're going to invite. Really, where's your guest count? You may have a ballroom that's only 150, but you may want to invite 250. I think it also really comes down to understanding where your budget is.
Yeah.
Truly, where is your budget?
And being honest about
And
that.
being honest. When I was on the wedding planning side, I would get that. I'd have a bride that would have a $30,000 budget or 40 or what have you. But you also got to know what that wiggle room is as well. Because a lot of people don't realize that, when you have price standpoints, there may be labor charges.
Right.
There may be, in Maryland, you have an alcohol tax.
I know, 9%.
So 9%. So,
Someone
but
needs to do something about it.
but I think when it comes down to it is really understanding truly where you are. Because we see so many engaged couples and we will cite them in, February or March, and we won't hear from them for like 10 months.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we need a venue, because they get into this, I call cocoon state. So they get engaged
Cocoon, I love
and
it.
they get into this
Yes.
cocoon state.
Yes.
And then before you know it, everyone starts asking, where's your venue? And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't have a venue.
Now, how far out do you book?
Well, I will tell you, we are booking 3 months out right now.
What?
We are booking, I see 9 months out. We are booking into 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
There are no actual booking windows as to where we used to see a year,
Yeah.
2 years out.
No,
I
you
find
won't.
that this next generation moving in are willing to take the chance on what is open.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're really, really geared towards a specific venue, lock it down.
Yeah.
Because the biggest disappointment you don't want is calling and saying, oh, by the way, I'm going to move you to the following year. or maybe I have to move you to a Sunday.
Yeah. And now, are people waiting for a price break? Is that?
No, I just think that people are getting into that cocoon state.
Yeah.
I really think that people are getting into that celebratory, hey, I'm engaged, throwing the ring selfie all over Instagram, and then before you know it, they become quiet, and then they wake up and say, oh, my wedding's in 3 or 4 months out.
That's crazy.
But I also think in Annapolis, what actually really defers us into that is that naval chapel time frame.
Yes,
that's
a big thing.
It's really releasing those dates in February that kind of gears us into that direction of in the year for the year. So that really actually pulls us back from a hotel standpoint too, because you have those weddings that are in the year for the year with the chapel saying, hey, by the way, here's all the dates,
right?
For 2017. And then you have these brides who are clamoring to get to these venues because there's only so many venues that can hold above a certain count.
That's right. And you have 2 ballrooms, right?
We do. We actually have the Annapolis ballroom, which is the brand new ballroom, which actually has windows.
And that used to be a steakhouse, and you
used to. Yeah, but
we've done it.
Yeah, and the really fun concept about that space is it has an open air kitchen. So these fantastic, mahogany walls that actually go into a side pocket, and the chefs can be there creating your dinner. If you're a big foodie, it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Plus you can fit about 150. And then you have the Capitol Ballroom, which has your high ceiling heights, very contemporary. Yeah, and you can do about 400. So, which is really fantastic. Yeah.
Wow. So, it's been so great talking to you.
I know.
What would you like to any last parting words for our brides and grooms who might be coming to the summit, they're newly engaged, looking to get some planning advice? What would you like to pass on to them?
I would say start with the professionals. I would say my biggest words of advice is stay offline. Stop reading
Come
magazines.
to the summit.
No, I really do. I think that so many of us go online. I mean, you have to look at the fact of, when you research a pair of great running sneakers, what's the first thing you do? You go online, and then you're like bombarded with 25 different articles. You're like, oh my gosh, which sneaker do I buy?
And there's just one bad review, and you're like, well, I can't get it because that one person didn't like it.
It's the same thing with weddings.
Yes.
You go online and you're getting all this information, but it's like, how do you process it all? And I think that's one of the reasons why so many people are very in that short-term window, because they're trying to process all of this information and kind of download it.
Yeah, and also, can you give me an average price range of Westin weddings?
I mean, our price points start, we start about $135 per person, and that's before the administrative charges and taxes. Again, it really depends on how flexible you are.
Right.
So if you see something like a 5-hour bar, are you willing to go 4 hours and then basically do wine service with dinner, pull an hour out?
Smart.
Do you really need $5 pass hors d'oeuvres when you actually probably could live with 4?
And so are you willing to work with couples?
Absolutely. I think that, it's one of those things where we're not set in stone as to saying, okay, you have to spend this. There has to be that flexibility within the wedding environment to look at the fact of where you are. If you're in high season and you do have your minimums, absolutely understandable. But then you may have a bride that says, you know what, I'm open to a Friday.
Yeah.
I'm open to a Sunday, of Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend or what have you. And those are things that you look at.
Now, let me ask you,
because
I've always wanted to ask, are you offended as a site coordinator if a bride says to you, this is my budget, how can I make this work?
No, it's not offensive at all. I think what happens is 90% don't understand the realistic of a budget.
Right, I agree.
I really think that when it comes down to it, we're basing the budget on the parents that got married 20, 25 years ago.
Right.
I think we're not basing the budget off of the
articles
fact.
that say the medium is.
Absolutely. But I would say, and it's one of those things where you don't want to call up your best girlfriend and say, hey, by the way, I saw that you got married at the Westin Annapolis. How much did you spend?
Right.
They're not going to do that.
Right.
But really sit down with the person that you're working with and saying, okay, and I've done this with couples and parents, and they'd say, okay, William, really, where is this budget? Should it be?
Yeah.
And I'll sit down and walk them through it, and they're like, okay, now I get it.
And that's really great. So you wouldn't be offended if somebody said, how can I make the most of my budget? And you help give them opportunities to
Absolutely. I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think if you basically go in and don't give your brides or grooms options, what are you doing?
Right.
Are you truly a professional? Are you just kind of walking away and saying, here's my price, I don't need you, and walking away? That's not the case.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When it comes down to it, no matter who it is, you don't know who's going to be at that wedding.
Yeah.
So you may have a bride that's a 110 or a 135, but that 110 could bring you that bride that's 155.
Yeah.
We're not looking for that.
Yeah.
You know, but when it comes down to it, you don't know who's seated in that seat at table 2.
That's great, and I think, you know, we'll end it at that because I think that encapsulates who you are, that you're willing to make every client's event fabulous.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to hear you speak more at the summit because you have so
Looking
much
forward to it.
information.
It's all
And
about
I'm
creating-
a little sad you're only drinking coffee.
I need my caffeine.
I will drink the wine for you. I will drink the wine for you.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you for
Oh,
coming
cheers,
in.
sweetie.
Cheers.
Thank you.